What's going on, Tribe Nation? Apache here. On this fine Saturday morning, we're going to talk about something rather serious, and that is my experience with racism within the past 20 years of my existence on this earth. Now, big disclaimer, I'm just going to say this right out front. If somebody gets called a cracker in one of my stories and experiences, I'm not going to say, oh, he called him the C word. I'm going to say cracker. If somebody gets called a nigger in one of my stories or experiences, I'm not going to say, oh, he got called the N-word. I feel like this needs to be a blatant, real, non-sugar-coated story that doesn't need to be suppressed. It needs to be talked about at face value for what it is. Secondly, I'm not a social justice warrior. I don't plan for this video to completely end racism. As a matter of fact, I'm going to touch on what I think we can do about racism way near the end of the video, because after you guys hear about all of my experiences that I can recall, that's when I'm going to talk to you guys about that. So, I've been living in the southern United States for the past 20 years of my life. And in the southern United States, for anybody who's maybe outside that lives in the UK, I know I got some viewers in like Germany and the Netherlands. What's up, boys? But in all honesty, for anybody who doesn't know about what the southern United States is like, there's a lot of racial tension between whites and blacks and Asians and Hispanics, and there's a lot of stereotypes. There's poverty for America standards around some of these areas, and I feel like that has something to do with the racism we see. Now, I've had a really, really, really good best friend. He's a black guy. He's extremely cool. I've known him since like the 6th grade. His name is Isaiah, but everybody has called him Cornbread for the past God knows how many years now, like 10 years now. And, I mean, that's what he wants to be called. It's his nickname. He accepts it, he adopted it, and he came up with it. Nobody else called him that. It's been his name. It was his name on MySpace way back in the day. It's his name on Twitter, Xbox, all of that. So, I'm going to give you guys a lot of the stories about, you know, the times where I've experienced racism through him. And I've actually experienced racism just directed towards me. And I'm just a lanky 6'3" white guy. Anyways, there was one time where me and Cornbread walked across the street. There was a parking lot across the street from our high school, and we had to cross the street to get to the school. We had parked in that parking lot and just walk across the street. There was this big, just blue Dodge Ram diesel lifted truck, which you see a lot of those in the South, in the deep South. And I live in like North Florida, just south of Georgia. So you see a lot of lifted trucks. We're just about to walk past this truck crossing the street. The truck stopped at the red light. We hear the locking mechanism going off inside the car. Like when, you know, an electric lock inside a car, you hear the thud. But we heard that from outside the car. He starts laughing a little bit. I'm like, dude, that's fucked up. And he doesn't care. He just completely just doesn't give a shit. He was like, whatever, man, it's all good. I get that all the time. And I'm like, nah, man, that's not cool. But the guy in the truck noticed at this time that we knew he locked his doors because of us and probably Cornbread. And so he rolled down his windows and he yelled at me. He was like, don't let that nigger steal anything out of your backpack, ha 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 ha. Cornbread just shook his head. I just said, fuck you, dude. Just like at the top of my lungs, pretty loud. And he just laughed and rolled up his window, and that was that. So I was like, do you deal with this on a daily? And he was like, pretty much, man. It's not even that big of a deal. Then one time me and Cornbread went over to two of what was our buddies' houses. We don't fuck with them anymore. But this was back in the times when Modern Warfare 2 was popular and everybody was playing it. So back in those days. And they were doing like a sniper 1v1 on the map Rust from Modern Warfare 2, and they got into an argument about something. I forgot what it was, like no nades or something like that. And it was just a verbal argument until it got so heated that they started calling Cornbread a nigger. Now, some days you could have caught Cornbread if he didn't know you, he wouldn't give a shit because you don't matter. If you're his friend and you call him a nigger, you're not really his friend, and he gets pissed off. And he was trying to fight them. I was trying to be the white knight that was trying to separate everybody and be the good guy and hold Cornbread back and tell them to shut the fuck up. But their grandma walked in the room. You would think this would be the person who's going to deliver the law and order and correct them or just separate everybody. She joins in. She's over there calling him popcorn hair, moon cricket, negroid, niglet. I can't even tell you, monkey, gorilla. Like, she had just this long list of just all of this racist remarks that she was making towards him. And I was like, oh shit, dude, we gotta go. Like, call your dad, I'll call my dad. We gotta get out of here. We just landed in like racism central. Like, we gotta go. And we never messed with those guys ever since. Cornbread's been called a nigger over Xbox Live, the internet, and I've experienced that through a third person, so I can't even imagine what he or anybody else goes through, other than the racism or racist experience that I've had of my own that's been directed towards me. So on the other end of the things, like I said, I have experienced racism towards me as a white guy. My dad's job moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. He had to finish out his job and it moved so he could retire. So we moved up there. It was an all-black school. Literally, I was one of 3 white people at this school. It was a ghetto school, and actually the year that I went there was the last year that it was open. It was that bad of a school. They had to close it down just because of all of the drugs and crookedness and teachers sleeping with students, and it was fucked up. A lot of the black people didn't like me because they viewed me already as like a racist towards them. So they were racist towards me. When, to be honest, like, they didn't know that I was just cool with everybody. I got called sour cream, cracker, honky, saltine, the white crayon. I mean, I had probably 5 friends at that school that really just even gave a shit about me. So one day, we go to have a rap battle. We're about the rap battle. And I'm not going to lie, I cheated. I pre-wrote my lyrics. I memorized them because I knew we were doing this on Friday. And I think it was some like old 1993 Eminem rap battle lyrics. Like, I got so many ways to dish you, I'm playful with you. I'll razor slit you, then staple stitch you. I don't know. I don't have a rap voice, man. But anyways, so I kind of won that, and somehow he knew that, you know, I cheated because he recognized the lyrics. So my black friend that I was competing against in this rap battle decides he's going to push me, and he's going to start calling me sour cream and marshmallow and Casper and things like that. And so all of our friends separate me and him. He was trying to push on me, and at that time I was just like, okay, man, fuck. But that was my experience there. There was one time I walked home from school, and there was like this back cut area to get from the school to my house that nobody really supervised. It was just, that's where the students would walk and have fights and do drugs and smoke before school. And I walked up, and there was a line of probably 15 to 20 black people on each side of the sidewalk. And I didn't understand what was going on. The girl that was walking in front of me walked in the grass around them. And they started saying, you ain't got to walk in the grass, girl. You don't want to scuff up your shoes. Come here, this, that, and the other. So I was like, oh shit. I didn't want to look scared. I didn't want to come off as like they intimidated me. I wanted to have pride. I thought that maybe if I seemed confident, they wouldn't mess with me. They would respect it. But I was a dumbass, okay? Probably still am. So I walked directly through the middle of them, and I got halfway through this line, and I got punched in the face so hard. And so I immediately turned to my left and started just blindly swinging and caught this guy like maybe 4 out of the 6 times out of the 6 punches that I threw. He fell to the ground. Somebody grabbed the back of my jacket and like horse collared me backwards. And they were like, yeah, you want to fight? You want to fight? And like all 15 to 20 of these guys are walking at me. So at this point, I just turn around and I'm gone, bro. I wasn't about the 1v15 these guys, go Super Saiyan Goku and just actually do something against that. I was like, fuck this. What are y'all talking about? This is messed up. I used to work as a Walmart asset protection associate. And a lot of the people who would steal from Walmart was either black teens or black kids. And I don't say that in a demeaning way. I'm saying that because I literally feel like at least black people in the South, from my experiences, I don't feel like they've been given the fair economic shot that they deserve. I don't feel like they've been entrusted with a lot of good jobs. Like, most of them are working minimum wage, like I was doing at Walmart before I got promoted, and later I got laid off with a lot of the other, employees at the store because of corporate shit. And so I had a lot of experiences there, just dealing with adversity and different races and just variety of culture. It's just been a long 20 years experience of having to put up with so much garbage and racism. And to be honest with you, like I said, I was going to tell you guys what are my thoughts on racism near the end of this video. I believe that every culture has its gutter. It's got its garbage, it's got its filth, it's got its fucked up ways of thinking, and then it's got things that make it special and unique and right and cool. And there's racist white people, there's racist black people. I've ran into a lot of racist black people who are older who don't like me because they automatically think I'm racist towards them. I've seen a lot of racist white people who just don't like black people and think they're uneducated, which isn't the truth. The valedictorian from my high school was a mixed girl, and she had black parents and a white mother and a black father, and which was an interracial couple, and she happened to be the smartest girl at the school. So Morgan Freeman did an interview, and the interviewer asked him, "How do you think we're going to end racism?" And he responded by saying, "Stop talking about it. Just don't talk about it anymore. Just that's it. Just stop talking about it." Which I take that in a way. Like, if we do what we're doing right now as a society, yes, racism still does occur, but I feel like if we start paying it less attention, making it less important and on the forefront, if we, we just say, if you call somebody a racial slur and we ignore them, then they'll stop. And that's what I admire about cornbread. It needs to be talked about, and God, I've been talking through this commentary so long, I'm starting to fucking tremble, bro. But in all honesty, like, cornbread, the reason I admire him is because he's always just either ignored it if it came from a stranger, but he expected more out of his friends, because he expected his friends to look at him for who he is, and society he didn't care about. So I've always admired that about him, and I've just been hoping that more people could adopt that way of thinking, and then we can have a discussion as a society about how to fix it later. Like, it's never going to be completely fixed. It's been around since the Egyptian times, the European era, back when there was kings and queens constantly, like Queen Elizabeth and things like that. It's not something that's going to go away, but it is something that we can constantly work on and make better. Anyways, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Hope you guys are also having a fantastic weekend. If you want to like and subscribe, if you're new to the channel, I'd extremely appreciate that, and thanks for watching, but I'll see you guys later.